The world around us is changing faster than ever before. Ideas once only imagined in science fiction are becoming a reality. Throughout the course of our amazing 23-episode season, we'll speak to some of the greatest minds in robotics and artificial intelligence to discuss the groundbreaking work that's fueling it all. I'm your host, Ryan Marine. Join me and my co-host, Paul Mitchell, the president of the Indy Autonomous Challenge, and see why we call this the Inside Track. Today, we are excited to welcome Andrea Levy to the show. Andrea is the man behind the Milan Monza open-air motor show. Today, we'll discuss the ways that the traditional auto show is struggling to spark excitement in the auto industry and how something as simple as driving cars faster can change that. Here we are on the floor of CES, joined, of course, by Paul Mitchell from the Indy Autonomous Challenge and a special guest, a man with many titles. He is the president of the Milan Monza Open Air Motor Show. He is also the CEO of the 777 Hypercar Project. Andrea Levy, thanks so much for spending some time with us. Super interested in learning a bit more about your background, but first, just a few days ago, as we're here recording this at CES, there was a really fun announcement, a special announcement between the Indy Autonomous Challenge and the Milan Monza Open Air Motor Show. Tell us about the announcement and what the future holds between these two entities.
Yeah, thank you, first of all. And yes, we're very excited because with Paul Mitchell, we just announced that in next year, there will be, let's say, the first autonomous challenge race in Italy. And so in this kind of race, that is a road course, there will be the Formula Indy Challenge. So, of course, we are very, very excited because Paul with his team did a great job. Monza is one of the, let's say, also faster Formula One circuit. The average that Formula One did, it's around, let's say, 260 kilometers per hour. So 180 miles per hour. But it's very complete because you got a long straight where I guess you can reach almost 200 miles per hour. But then the first corner, you have to reduce the speed up to 30 miles per hour because it's a very, very, important corner. So I really look forward to see how all the team and all the Formula Indy Challenge will manage this one. So they also will have to do a great research, and probably also, the level of technology will be improved a lot. So we are very, very excited for that.
It's a big announcement. Very excited for that, of course. And we'll speak more about what the future holds in a moment. But I'd like to pull back the curtain a little bit on your story and how you got to this point. I think it's safe to say that automotive and motorsport, that's pretty much a big part of your life at this stage. But where did it enter into the equation for you? When did you get the bug?
I am organizing a motor show in Italy that now has become definitely the most important Italian motor show. And we started 7 years ago with a new concept of motor show because we immediately realized that indoor motor show was suffering. Of course, for all of us that we love cars, it's amazing to go in a big motor shop. You see this big stand. But for the system, for the car manufacturer, it's too much expensive because you concentrate a lot of millions of dollars for 5-6 days. So we try to do another concept, something that is much more simple, something that is more dynamic. So last year, for example, we got 50 different car manufacturers. So from generalistic car to the best supercar and hypercar, so like Ferrari, Lamborghini, McLaren, Pagani, well, all in Milano Monza Motor Show. But it's not just a static motor show. The fact that, of course, we use Monza circuit allow us to have hot lap, to have test drive for electric car and full hybrid car. There is no ticket. Also because we really want to, let's say, to spread the passion also to new generations. So Milano Monza Motor Show is good because you can see not just men, first of all, but you see couples, you see family, you see kids. And so, of course, we're trying to, again, to spread the motorsport or the car passion to also young generation.
That's right. After years of brands attempting to one-up each other at various motor shows, Andrea had the idea to make his event free and open to the public, inviting all kinds of auto manufacturers at a set price, focusing solely on the cars and their capabilities rather than how they look, which is what you might see at more traditional auto shows.
You know, Andrea, I think the concept of this open air dynamic motor show is really something special, because you were saying that the traditional auto show is suffering, and if you look at the pandemic, it really hurt that market. The most recent Detroit Auto Show was a fraction of the size that it had been in the past. And I think part of it is that people want to see these vehicles operating. They want to see the technology performing. It's not just about the design of the cars anymore, right? It's electric vehicle, it's hybrid, it's how fast can it go? Is it autonomous? And you can't really get excited about that technology unless you can see it. And we found that with Indy Autonomous Challenge. It was, people love seeing our race car, sitting on the floor of CES or at the LA Auto Show. And there's a lot of pictures that get taken, but almost everybody asks us, is this just a prototype? Does it work? And then when they find out that, no, these are actual race cars, there's 10 of them and they go 170 miles an hour, their minds are blown, right? So I applaud what you've done. I guess, what was it about the open air concept that led you down that path? I mean, did you see that there was something going on where the shows were getting smaller, and did you talk to industry and they gave you this feedback and said, okay, Andrea, if you're going to do something, you need to do it this way? Because it's not, you're really the first to do it. So that was pretty innovative.
Definitely right, Paul, because at the beginning that we have to move back to 2014, I, let's say, interview literally Volkswagen Group and let's say all the group now, Stellantis, let's say at the era Fiat, exactly.
Fiat Chrysler.
So I go to them and say, tell me, please, I'm going to open up a new concept. Tell me what you will like not to find in a motor show. So I interviewed these two car manufacturers that actually share the biggest percentage in Italy, so Volkswagen and Fiat. And they told me, for example, Cristiano Fiorio talking about the Alfa Romeo, say, one time we spent a lot of money for a stand, and so all the bosses was there, great expectation. We think to be one of the bigger one. We invest a lot. We arrived there and Audi got 3 times our stand. What I do not like of the actual indoor motor show is that maybe if you go in Germany, Frankfurt Motor Show, of course, the German wants to show they're very strong. If you go to Paris, you got the French. And so it's just a demonstration how strong you are.
How much money you're willing to spend.
But of course, someone is not happy. You invest money and maybe you have a little booth. So we put rules. In Milan Monza Motor Show, the booth, we provide the booth. So it's all the same. So it's not a question who have the bigger stand, the bigger booth. It's a question of car. As you were saying, Paul, are totally right. Car that you have also to test, you see movement. So if there is electric, you see how nice could be moved in with no sound, with no vibration. Or if you love the sound of the engine, V8, V6, whatever, you have to hear that engine.
And you talked about how, you mentioned it earlier, but the push for EVs in Europe is big. The push for EVs in US is growing as well. And I know the European Union has been very aggressive in pushing EVs. The automakers in Europe are saying by some year, maybe all of their cars or most of their cars will be EVs. But, it's still a struggle because you gotta win over the market. So we got to find ways to get people, in these cars, driving them, exposed to them, to win over hearts and minds. And that's exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. There is really a big confusion, especially in Europe, for which will be the technology of the future. I say also politics helps a lot in creating this confusion, because arrive first the car and not the infrastructure, so the recharging. So people, and the risk is that then they don't change the car. So we got a lot of old cars that need to be changed. Better if they change, because with more attention for the environment. And so in MIMO, of course, we will allow, by the way, all the technology, not just EV car, but still hybrid, full hybrid or mild hybrid or whatever technology, in order really to give a message. If you can, update your car. There are several technology. So, I mean, we don't know which will be the future. Also, in Europe has been settled 2035 to go to electrifying, but many people saying that probably we will have to see again this date and to see what's happening in the future, because probably we will not turn 100% for that date. There could be other problems. So probably all the full market is considering again what will be the future.
Andrea brings up a very important point for the future of the automotive industry. All over the world, leaders are pushing for electrified vehicles. In March of 2023, EU ministers met in Brussels to sign a pledge that 100% of new cars sold will be zero-emission vehicles. But leaders signing pledges isn't the only important work. Both the IAC and Milan Monza motorshow are working to gain the much-needed public support for this changing world. In short, they are proving to the world that autonomous and fully electric vehicles can be just as exciting and powerful as traditional cars. What do you expect the reception to autonomous cars driving at Monza to be? Do you anticipate that there will be some that don't feel that autonomous cars belong at the Temple of Speed?
Oh, no, not that one. It's very interesting because we just, the news is one day ago, yesterday, and already the coverage in Italy has been huge. So all the newspapers are talking about this in the Autonomous Challenge coming to Italy. So there is great expectation. And the people is very interested because there is a lot of curiosity because Monza is really considered one of the most also difficult circuits because it's very complete, not just fast, but then also very slow corner. So there is a lot of curiosity on how this technology can be able to go that fast. I mean, probably in our mind, there is autonomous driving. You think robotaxi or something that is going quite slow in the city center. So the fact that Paul with his format also show to the world that this car can be so fast.
Andrea, we were having an interesting conversation off air about how some of this AI technology actually can enter the cockpit and assist a human driver. And that's something that you see potentially in some of your hypercar projects that you're working on.
Yeah, correct. And launched also another project that is 777 Hypercar. That is a hypercar built in cooperation with Dallara. But it's a car that will not follow any rules. And so the engineers are very excited. So the fact that we're not following rules, what does it mean? That we can have the more performing aerodynamics. So with more bigger wings. Also, more powerful engine. We will use a V8 naturally aspirated 4.5 liters by Gibson that produce engine for motorsports, 730 horsepower for just 900 kilos. So it will be definitely the ultimate racing car.
And you were saying some of the sensor information that we see in something like in the Autonomous Challenge car, there's perhaps ways of incorporating that into the cockpit to give the driver maybe real-time coaching or feedback.
Exactly. I think that what Paul is doing in Formula Indy got several applications in many kind of cars. In the 777 per car could help, sometimes the owner of this car, maybe it's not professional driver, maybe got already a garage with huge supercar hypercar. So, of course, this kind of race show us how to, let's say, the autonomous intelligence should take decision in really millisecond. And this is what happened in real life when a car crosses you in a nothing time. And so, of course, many of this technology can help you and probably can save lives.
And Paul, that's been your feedback too, right? From automotive as well as from the racing industry.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is the potential for the perception systems that are in autonomous vehicles and some of the other sensor systems to be applied to human-driven race cars or hypercars in a way that gives the driver, 360-degree understanding of what's going on around them. Future drivers to have that full perception. The technology is there. And maybe that's what's needed to unlock those next levels of speed, because we do know cars could go 300 miles per hour or into that realm. Historically, it's been unsafe to do that because of the risk to the driver's life. With all the advancement that Dallara and others have made around carbon fiber monocoques, we can now protect a driver under really serious conditions and accidents. But you still have the limits of what can the driver perceive around them. And so adding in these kinds of technologies, I think, could unlock higher speeds and safer racing for the gentleman driver or the person who's buying a hypercar, who's trying to learn. There, it could be more of a coach, right? Where you're giving them, okay, you're coming into a turn. Here's the AI recommended path.
Right.
You don't have to take it. Maybe you can go slower. You could make an adjustment. And here's the recommended time for braking. So basically an AI coach. And that's going to help people who buy these cars, frankly, not only become better drivers, but get the full value out of this expensive asset. So I'm excited to see where this 777 project goes. I know that Dallara and Andrea Levy, who we know well, and Andrea Levy, if these guys have cooked up this idea, certainly it's going to be very exciting to see. And if there's a role for some of the tech we have in Indy Autonomous Challenge, we're excited to contribute it.
Let's close with this. You are a car enthusiast. Automotive is your life. How do you think of the future, our AI future, with autonomous driving creeping in, with electrification coming in increasingly? Is this something that excites you, or does it concern you?
Definitely excites me, but what we are understanding generally, talking to car mobility, is that we have to use every technology in the right way. Sometimes people are scared because think that maybe you have to use 100%. Not at all. I'm sure that artificial intelligence is already entering in the right balance. That is the right key. So of course, there is a lot of, we already talk, field where this one could save life, could be important. Doesn't mean that we will go autonomously. There will be, for some use, will be a very good technology. In other use, we will driving our car. If you need to drive a lot, of course, a normal car, it's probably the better technology. So that is the fact. But of course, we have to be open mind to new technology, and not taking 100%, but taking the right percentage we need for our daily life.
Andrea, fascinating conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So you, Ryan. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us this week on The Inside Track. That was Andrea Levy, teaching us how simply driving the cars at an auto show can generate true excitement in the autonomous vehicle space and the future of race cars. And next week, we'll be sitting down with Gene Renuart to discuss how an autonomous race car is a national security asset for the United States.